Hey, how you doing? Welcome to another chapter of Comments from the Peanut Gallery. We have with us today props. Look it. I have the whole world. Look at that. There's a whole world and this chunk of thing sitting on top of it. What is that? Okay, and then behind me, look at this. Look at this monstrous door. It's huge. Okay, now camera girl and I have been discussing how to do this, and I said, okay, how big is the Heaven Castle ship? People aren't getting it. They don't quite understand why it's absolutely, totally, completely impossible for it to sit on top of the Earth. Not possible. It's a non-functional thought. It doesn't work. How can I explain that? So, because what really is what God has done, what He has said, and what actually is so wonderfully magnificent. And what's been put out there, the thought, the concept, is compared with God's thought. It is so puny, runty, pitiful. It's really sad. So the truth is so much better. So how to present the truth? Now this door, you see this door back here? This door is proportionate to how far away from the door are you? Right here, from you're right here. Okay, here you are to the door. You are 150 inches from the door. Okay, 150 inches. And from this side of the door, right here, from this spot right here, from this spot all the way over to this spot, 150 inches. And each one of these marks in between is 10 inches. And what is that? What does that compare to? Okay, Heaven Castle ship. 1,500 miles by 1,500 miles. 1,500 miles by 1,500 miles by 1,500 miles. Okay, that is God's dimensions. 12,000 cubits, no, 12,000 furlongs. That's how big it is. 1,500 miles cubed. He's very explicit, very precise about those numbers. Remember John and the angel? In their space utility vehicle, they went out and measured it, physically measured the Heaven Castle ship and recorded it. So each one of these marks, 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles, another. And what is this blue line? Here, this blue line, what does that represent? This is, now, we're going to have to pretend just a little bit because the door wasn't tall enough. It wasn't 150 inches tall. So we're pretending that this mark right here, this blue line, is 850 miles up on the ship. This one, 850 miles from here down to the ship, down to the bottom of the Heaven Castle ship. From here down is 850 miles. Okay. And from here up, then would be, what, 650 miles. But this line right here, 850 miles, if you're dealing with planet Earth and on the top of the planet, then from the Earth's surface coming up, what is calculated to be outer space, 850 miles above the Earth is outer space. But if the Heaven Castle ship was sitting on the Earth, this line is 850 miles above the Earth. See? Right here. Now, we've got the whole world. No, He's God. And right here, we have planet Earth. Look at planet Earth. And this thing that's sitting on top of planet Earth, this magnificent little block of walnut, is proportionately correct with this globe and this block of wood this block of walnut is proportionately correct. Actually, it's a little bit small as far as being perfect, but this is the nicest block of walnut that I just had sitting there. But this big, compared with the Earth, okay, this to this is how big the heaven castle ship is in relation to the Earth, right there. This and this. That's how. That's how big it is, and why this thought of, well, besides all of Scripture, always identifies that the God's house. Okay, heaven is the sky. Heaven is the space. Heaven is another term for space. Heaven is not a place; it is space. God's house, you want to find out about God's house. Heaven, no, not heaven, the heaven castle ship. You want to find out about that in the Bible, okay, and get some truth about it, because what you've been fed a fairy tale. The truth is so much better than some doofus fairy tale put out by whatever. People that don't understand, don't believe, don't know. Can this actually... Is there any way of getting something like that on top of the planet? We on this planet. It looks like I'm standing still, that I'm not moving. Right here. Look it, I'm standing still, I'm not moving. But at the same time that I'm not moving, this Earth that we are on is spinning in a circle. And how fast is it spinning? It goes around once a day. It is spinning at almost 1,000 miles an hour that we're moving, just standing. I'm standing still, but I'm still moving 1,000 miles an hour going around. And at the same time, we're orbiting the sun, okay? Orbiting the sun. So we're traveling at 1,000 miles going around, whichever way you want to say, or that we're turning in a circle. The Earth is rotating on its axis in this wobbly kind of a rotation. But we're also orbiting the sun. Now we're 93 million miles away from the sun, basically, and we're orbiting the sun. So to get around the sun in 1 year, okay, to go around, to take another lap around, okay, we're traveling at approximately 1 million miles per day. 1 million miles per day as we go around. Here, we'll say we're going around the sun. The Earth is orbiting, and it goes around the sun once every, we call it a year, but every day this Earth is traveling approximately 1 million miles to get around the sun in a year. At the same time, we're spinning in a circle. And this thing, to put something this big on top of it, and going, oh, this is what God's design. And okay, camera girl and I were talking about this, and she says, you got too many numbers, too much number stuff. You got to do something else. Bring it down to something they can understand. Oh, come on, I thought I got it. She said, no, that's not enough. I go, oh, come on. I said, you remember that movie? The movie we watched, Independence Day, where the alien spaceship came, and it was way out there, out by the moon, out in space, okay, out in the heavens. That alien ship was out there, and they were tracking it with all of the, and they were going, okay, and they had their telescopes pointed at it, and here it comes, and then it slows down and stops. And once it stops, here comes all these little ships come off of it, and then they go and they hover over the top of the planet. And one of them was like over New York or something like that. And she said, oh, that's it. That's it. I said, what's it? She said, oh, compare it to New York. How big is the Heaven Castle ship compared to New York? I said, oh, the Heaven Castle ship compared to New York, like the whole, you know, the whole New York. Okay, where's he? You see New York there? Right up, oh, right there. There's New York. Okay, how does the Heaven Castle ship, and the Heaven Castle ship fell right, oh, down here. A gust of wind, or I bumped it or something, and the ship fell right off the earth. Here, let's get it back up there. Okay, so I said, okay, I can figure it out. So I went and got how big is New York, and how does it compare to here, our thing, our representation of the actual ship that goes from this piece of trim right here all the way over to this piece of trim right here, 150 inches, 1,500 miles wide, 1,500 miles high, and 1,500 miles this way. How big is New York compared to that? And I went and I calculated. I didn't do it with a pencil. I did it with a calculator and a computer. And going, how big is New York? How many square miles is New York? And we come up with a representation of this thing right here. This. And I'm holding this up just like somebody does when they catch a big fish, and they catch a little fish and make it want to look like a big fish. Because how big is New York? Look at, in comparison to the Heaven Castle ship, this is New York, right here. Here, this thing right here, this little wafer, New York, 302 square miles. That's New York City, okay? I'm talking about New York City, not New York State. New York City, 302 square miles, okay? This right here. See the big fish here? It's really big again. There, it's really big. But this is how big New York City is there, and this would include the height of it, and including all of the skyscrapers, all of the subways would be contained in this little wafer that's just over, it's like 1 3/4 inches by 1 3/4 inches, and not quite a 1/4 inch thick. Oh, here it is. Oh no. Oh, it fell off again. It's down there and it fell out into space. Look at that, it's out in space. The Heaven Castle ship, it fell off the planet again. Well, we're going to continue on from here another time. But for now, does that give you an idea of how big the Heaven Castle ship, where this little thingy right here represents New York City, 302 square miles, compared with the Heaven Castle ship? There it is, right there. That's it. Oh. If you can dream it, you can do it, and enjoy the journey as you go.